You're listening to Graphic Novel Explorers Club podcast, an audio book club.
Thanks for checking out today's episode of Graphic Novel Explorers Club. I'm one of your hosts, Johnny, joined by...
Francis.
And... Dennis.
Today we are discussing My Boyfriend is a Bear, written by Pamela Ribon and illustrated by Cat Farris. Francis, I thought you would appreciate...
I really did.
Like
I love this cat.
If you were going to have a kid, I think that you would name your kid either Tom or Cat.
Now I want two kids.
Oh, yeah.
We hope you've already read today's title because all three of us have read the book. So beware, spoilers ahead. We would love for you to share your opinion and thoughts with us. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at GN Explorers Club. Leave a comment on our Facebook page or email us at gnexplorersclub@gmail.com. Graphic Novel Explorers Club is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and wherever podcasts are available.
So this episode's book is My Boyfriend is a Bear. This was your choice, right, Johnny?
It was, yeah, because it seemed kind of out there. I was like, what?
So how did you find out about that? I've never heard of the author before.
I want to say NPR reviewed the book.
Oh,
or
really?
They mentioned it, something about it,
You guys can't see the facial expression, but Dennis's opinion of the book just increased significantly when Johnny said that.
It was NPR. Well, there we go.
It was like the Matt picking up the star in Mario Brothers.
Right.
He's just crashing through everything now.
The book opens. What's that phrase we always talk about?
Mise en scene.
Yeah, basically mid-scene, where we're introduced with this lovely young lady, her boyfriend who has interesting taste in indie bands, Arcade Fire.
Yeah.
And she offers him, I think, some ice cream sandwiches, and he devours it. And then, bam, there's the title, My Boyfriend is a Bear. I don't know what I was expecting opening this book right off the bat. If it was going to be stupid. We've read a lot of relationship kind of books, and I was thinking it was going to be whiny. But I was pleasantly surprised. The book starts with Nora, right? First main character is Nora. And she explains basically her relationship with a 500-pound American black bear.
In the Los Feliz, Silver Lake
right.
parts of LA, I think. That's the impression I got.
What's interesting is I wasn't sure at first if this was going to be some sort of anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic, is that the word?
Anthropomorphic?
Yes,
I
bear.
don't even know if that's the correct.
Pooh Bear, cartoonish.
Well, like Bugs Bunny.
Right, exactly.
They have a human hands.
Right.
But no, he's a bear.
Right. It becomes very clear that, no, he's just really an actual bear. And he does bear things. He breaks stuff. But she's in a relationship with him. I don't know, Francis, do you want to say anything? What did you think when you were first opening it?
I'll wait. Because I had a lot of thoughts. And true to Francis reading comic book form, those thoughts were wrong. But let's jump in and then we can,
okay. So it's kind of gives a...
Okay, I lied. So there's some parallels. There's some parallels I felt in this. I was really excited to read this because I'm not trying to be mean at all. My fiance is a big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a big ass dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him. And I mean he's tall. He's a big guy. Yeah. And I'm not tiny, but I'm...
Yeah, you are.
Okay,
you are tiny.
Well, I'm tiny, but I put on some weight. But so...
You're still tiny.
So I was actually excited to read this book. So I'm like, oh, it's kind of a similar dynamic. Not calling my fiance a bear, by any means. But I was excited to read this. And some of these things that we'll get into, I was like, yep.
Well, I thought that the twist at the end was going to be that he was actually a human and that she had just called him a bear because of his behavior.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be some sort of reveal that...
Everyone else saw him as a regular person.
Yeah.
But she just kind of used the analogy of him as a bear.
Did you guys watch Love? That Netflix show was only on for...
Oh, no.
One of the characters in there is dating this big slobby dude, and that's it. It reminded me of that. And I kept expecting that to be revealed towards the end. It was like, oh, it was just this dumpy dude that she was dating, but no, it was an actual bear.
I don't want to jump. Well, I guess we can jump in. Yeah. So the premise basically is she's getting ready to go out to dinner. but it's a very sad dinner, but we don't find out why at first.
Right.
So it kind of plays into the backstory about how they met, their relationship, introducing them to friends. And we'll still recap all that.
And she was dating shitty dudes.
Yeah. But I too was expecting this big like reveal at the end. Even though there was not a big reveal, I still thought it was very true to if he was a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like her friends don't really seem to like him. They're like, you're dating a bear.
Right.
Like, and basically be like, you're dating a fat guy.
Right.
Or you're dating a slob. And I wouldn't say he was sloppy or he's a genuinely good bear. Like he does try. I don't think he knows like how big he is in his space.
Yeah, see, I thought that was also like maybe a metaphor for him being new to relationships. Like she's dating a guy who had never been in like an adult committed relationship before. Because yeah, he breaks things, he does stupid stuff accidentally, and she has to kind of
fix it.
And that was the other part of it too. I was like, oh, is this like a metaphor for she's dating someone,
a sloppy guy, right?
Like, but not just a sloppy guy, but a guy that she wants to fix,
Right.
You know.
Yeah. So what's funny too is there's this one scene. Now we're really jumping ahead. Well, there's two scenes. So there's one scene. He seems like he's really sloppy, but like she doesn't put his coffee away the right way, and he like gets like, no, there's like a right way to put away the coffee, which tells me he's not completely like he has some standard. And then I really appreciated this, and it's totally a Johnny move. He built the cat the special little
Right, the shelf.
elevator.
Yeah.
And somebody in this room built their cat a special bed.
That's true.
Even though that someone doesn't like cats.
Yeah. So, but I did think, and I don't know if that was their intent to go too deep, but
You know,
what is it like for like mismatched couples to be together?
see, and that's the other thing I thought was maybe this was a metaphor for
Interracial?
yeah, thanks. I almost said interspecies. I was like, that,
Well,
this,
it is.
this is interspecies. But yeah, an interracial relationship where,
For sure.
but then it's set in the modern time and like in a, obviously it's in Hollywood, LA area. Like,
Pretty progressive.
yeah,
Which is all about looks, though. We have to remember that. LA is all about image.
that's why I'm not allowed to go down there.
So why don't we go back into the story, and then we can dissect it as we go along.
Yeah, so we're introduced to who Nora is, and I actually felt this resonated with me. I don't know, I found her very endearing. She was looking in her closet. She had like clothes that she didn't wear. She would cry.
If in any other story, because I will say this, I thought this book was really well written.
Yeah.
Any other storyteller would have made her the pixie.
Manic pixie girl.
The manic pixie girl. Thanks,
Right.
Dennis. Yeah, I think a lesser writer would have gone that route with her instead of making her a well-rounded character.
Well, and she didn't seem whiny. I mean, there's just quirks about her that you discover basically what's up with her. But unlike some of the books we read, what is that one about the fire? Remember, you guys didn't like it, but I liked it.
Oh, or she was depressed.
Yeah.
Inflammable, untouchable.
Everything is flammable.
Everything is flammable.
She was so whiny.
Right.
Yeah, she's not. This character is not.
No, she suffers from, everything we all suffer from.
Yeah.
A job we might hate.
Mild depression.
Mild depression, and quirks.
She feels inferior next to her friends.
Right.
Yeah.
But she also like embraces her quirks in terms of like singing songs improperly or out of tune, not wanting to wear pants. I don't know. I found her very endearing. So the intro couple pages, it sold me as a person. Like I know people exactly like this. And then plus I used to work at a call center, so I felt a lot of sympathy for her job. So yeah, so it busts into the dinner preparation that will soon,
And he's wearing a suit, like he's dressed up.
And
So
we've seen, that's what it kind of confused me. Like he's kind of domesticated. Like it's kind of weird because he's a wild
she had to domesticate. Every woman has to domesticate her man. We know this.
True. Yeah.
So then it cuts to basically how they met in the first place, and it's her most recent ex, was it Ben? And and then
Call him crappy guy.
Well, and I really liked. Then it talks about all the crappy guys she dated beforehand, and each of them had weird quirks. I don't know. It seemed, talking to female friends, all of them seemed like real dudes who they've complained about.
Yeah, this felt really authentic to someone in their late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah, one of the guys like hated her cat. I have broken up with a guy because he hated my cat. True story. He like called her ugly. I was like, we're done.
I feel like this guy was probably the coolest, best guy
No,
ever.
he wasn't. You would have hated him. That's another story.
I did hate Ben, though, because I've known a lot of Bens. So he basically chastises her for reading basically
Light, fluffy stuff.
fluffy Cosmo-type magazines. And why, I don't know. I felt there's a little bit of Johnny in here. Like, why wasn't she reading something a little more substantial?
And like they're like, what are they doing? They're just like taking like a day trip, like having a picnic, and he's decanting wine. Like, go away, wine decanter.
Yeah.
Go away.
And he's trying to start a fire, and he's just like the douchiest hipster. That's not Johnny. The only part that resonated to me is Johnny was.
I've noticed a trend. You guys always find characters that remind you of me, and I am gonna start looking for characters that remind me of you guys. It's not my fault. I have an outstanding personality that doesn't bend to the will of the people around me.
You're just always in our thoughts, Johnny.
Yeah.
See?
More concerns. Always concerned about you. I actually had a friend many years ago and an ex-girlfriend say, I'm worried about you. I was like, what? What do you mean? Just like, you just don't know how to function in society. I was like, oh. Just this was the gist of it. Was just...
See, I would disagree. Whereas we see elements of you in these books, I would say you're a successful human being. Whereas these ones
well, at the time they said this, it was probably true.
I would say these are a lot of what-if alternate universe versions of Johnny.
And we're highlighting your endearing qualities.
Yeah. Basically, these are all versions of Johnny that never met Sasha.
Or prior to meeting, yeah. I also had another friend compare me to the Raul character, or the lawyer character from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
You need new friends.
Well, this was back when I was feral. I would say I was feral.
Yeah.
Undomesticated by Sasha.
Yeah.
So back to the book. Ben is kind of a douche. As not Sasha. Sorry. Oh, Francis. As Francis described.
Francis
As pointed out about Johnny.
Pointed out about Johnny. He was
About this guy.
Yeah. He was decanting wine. He asks for his acoustic guitar. I mean,
Oh God,
He
guys!
seems like a
acoustic
real
guitars.
Jack Johnson fan.
but you know what? He doesn't seem. Once again, it seems so authentic. Normally, in some books, this would be kind of a parody, right? It seems outlandish, too much of a caricature. But it felt like some guy I've met.
Felt real.
Yeah. So Nora is upset at Ben and decides to take a walk and I guess burn and bury her magazines that he apparently disapproves of. And at that point, she meets eyes with Bear. He actually never gets a name.
Nope.
It's interesting,
Yeah.
which is weird because there's a lot of bears out there. So if she's looking for Bear and she asks for Bear, she could get someone else.
Yeah.
But at that point, I think what happens, she basically runs off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's scared out of her mind.
Oh, that's right. Because she was trying to burn her magazines. It cuts to basically her living her life and, brunching with her friends, doing her work. I guess she does some sewing, trying to work out, improve herself. We were introduced to her friends, Deborah and Carly, who once again seem very real to me. They seem like people that
They seem, the thing I got right away with their friendship, and she does a really good job of showing this, is they don't seem like real friends.
right.
Like
Yeah.
they're just like superficial, like Instagram, social media friends.
And one always thinks like she's kind of better than her. She gets that impression.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Carly? No,
No, this
blonde
Deborah.
This girl.
Deborah.
It says, yeah.
Deborah, right. But you know what? Even then, once again, I don't know. We've read a lot of books where, like Snot Girl. I know Johnny and I have read Snot Girl for the reading club at the comic
Did
book
you
shop.
hear that shade? Mm-hmm.
But once again, they have a brunch club and they have friends. And those seemed like cartoon characters. They're not real. But for some reason, even Deborah, who's artificial, she kind of does care for Nora. I mean, I feel like they're on a friendly level.
Yeah. Like she's concerned about her because how it reflects on her as her friend. Like that kind of friendship.
Oh, okay.
I want you to have your shit together because when we're out being seen, I want people to know I hang out with exclusive people.
Right.
If you don't have your shit together, then we can't be friends. That's how I always got it.
And Carly was the cool girl, right? I mean, she's got like what? I think it describes her having multiple partners. a couple different boyfriends, a girlfriend,
polyamorous relationships,
and just she seems like at ease with herself, not superficial like Deborah. Anyway, they
which is funny because that's such a double standard. She has all these multiple sexual partners and she's cool. The other girl dated all these guys and she's not cool.
Right.
It's like how when does it? It's very frustrating. Yeah, but so please continue.
I do get some mixed feelings, and we'll jump a little bit.
But that's also Nora's that's her own baggage.
Yeah.
Like she feels guilty, I think, about that.
And this is through the eyes of her perception.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of these friends? For me, Carly kind of weirded me out because she was hanging on to Bear so much, and they were kind of buddies.
Oh, you're jumping ahead.
Well, it's just I don't know. I never really trusted her. There was like this weird edge about her where it's like, are you trying to bag Bear for yourself?
Yeah, I did get that impression. There's a point where the friends she tries to introduce Bear. Well, they haven't even met yet. Mm-hmm. Bear's really into sports, and this one of her friends is super into sports, so they come over and watch the game. And at one point, there's a party, and this friend kind of drinks a little too much, and kind of hanging herself on Bear a little bit. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
Nora doesn't seem to mind at all.
I wouldn't say that. We'll talk more when that section comes because I need to hit on something she said. I got to find it. To me, it felt definitely slightly competitive. Just a slight level of competition. Oh, you have this great guy, but I could have him if I wanted to, or it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So jumping back, sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead.
Oh no,
but
that's okay.
So they're drinking, and then the friends are obviously offering their advice to Nora on what kind of guy she should get, and it just resonated once again as being pretty authentic. Typical stuff. You need a strong guy, nice guy.
So I love this part. You can tell the girls are getting drunker and drunker.
Yeah.
Because everything's like Pablo Picasso.
Yeah, it starts going to this cubism as they get wasted.
And that's what every girl will tell a girl how fabulous she is as soon as they're drunk. You're just you're so beautiful.
I just want to say how much I love you.
Yeah, that's...
You too. And then I just love how they just keep drinking, and then Nora hits that point where she's gonna vomit, and so she ends up getting a ride home from someone. Is it Uber or something like that? And then she runs into Bear, who apparently had tracked her down using the magazines that she had left.
I couldn't figure out. I thought it was by smell.
Oh no, because he points at her her magazine, and it has her address, which once again it's just kind of weird. He's a wild bear, but he can read. And apparently, I can't do anything without any kind of Google map, but apparently he's able to navigate from the woods, however far that is, to Hollywood, and then find her address.
Well, there was a bear in the Tahoe Blue Hotel one time. Walked into the hotel. Yeah.
Is this in LA?
No, in Tahoe.
Oh, in Tahoe.
Yeah, it used to be the Caesar Hotel, and then became something blue. And they show it a bear literally just walked in one day. Wow. So it happens.
He was looking for a girl who had left her Us magazine.
Well, and he comes across as, I don't know, sweet, I guess, because he wanders into her house, and then he just basically...
she invites him in, right? Which, no.
Right.
No woman just invites some strange man into her house. Yeah. I would let a stray cat into my house, so I'm trying to do that.
And then he just basically starts eating and pigging out of her fridge, which is natural for a bear. And she thinks, this is great. And so they start eating together. And then she gets sick and she hurls. And I love that part where she's basically, don't look at me, I'm disgusting. And that's me dealing with Christy every time she drinks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
She can't just hold her liquor. She always has to vomit. I'm trying to, I can sense it in the evening. Where it's just
trying to cut her off at the pass.
I don't know. She just got to keep drinking and keep drinking. Then we get home.
Yeah, maybe we just drink a little water, baby.
Yeah, and then and then she vomits. I was like, well, what was the point of drinking all that? You just vomited up everything you just purchased. But anyway, she vomits and then she passes out. Now this is an interesting part because she wakes up and he's cuddling her. Yeah. So a cat, that's
on
fine.
The kitchen floor.
Yeah.
Which is really sweet.
So is it sweet though? If this was a dude, so replace the bear with a guy, you have a drunk woman who just passed out. Me too. I don't think cuddling her, even though that's what she said she wanted at her drinking night with the girls, that she just wants a cuddler. So this guy's a cuddler. So natural fit. But I don't know. I mean, he didn't exactly get consent. She was passed out. Now, that's instinct for a bear, probably, you know, just kind of, I don't know, protecting someone.
That's what I got. I got the impression, not so much that he was cuddling her. I mean, you do bring up a good point. But to his credit, like, he didn't sexually assault her or do anything inappropriate. I think he just saw her passed out on the floor and was like, I need to comfort her. Like, I don't want her to be hurt. Like, I can keep her warm.
Yeah.
Which also happened in Twilight.
But yeah, so I was that kind of put me off where she was okay with that. Where it's like, it's kind of, if it was a dude, if this was me and the random guy,
yeah,
it wouldn't fly. Anyway, she ends up letting him basically stay at her place.
So I love this. There's a scene he's getting down the air popper for the popcorn. I had one of these in the 80s and I loved it. And I was like, oh, how does she still have
out the
hers?
side.
Yeah.
And then he's doing normal bear things, but also not normal bear things. He's bathing himself. Apparently he's fixing the bed. And he knows how to use tools because he's got like whatever, screws and everything like that. And of course he cuddles her, which is what she liked. He gets along with her cat. Obviously a big plus for people like Francis.
Yep.
And then she just starts learning more and more about bears. So he gets reading glasses. She finds him some reading glasses. And this is where it's just kind of weird. It's like he's a wild bear, but he's not. And he kind of has,
it's like you were saying, he already had like domestic proclivities.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And then apparently she's able to interpret his language. I actually like that. There's a whole panel where she breaks down his different growls and what they mean.
So I love Andy. I love him. But first thing in the morning, there's definitely certain, just like the way he wakes up, just the way his face or like the first sound he makes. And I'm like, oh, okay, like he's tired or he didn't sleep well. And then very, very rarely I'm like, I need to stay out of his way. Like I'm just gonna, he needs some space for a minute.
Yeah.
He's like not in the mood. So
he really is a bear.
Yeah.
I can see why you identified with this.
I really did.
Yeah, so it kind of details a little bit of their life and they like to wrestle and everything. And it, oddly enough,
when he wrestles too hard, like he hurts her. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is about this story, but it felt normal to me. Like it was like, but he's a fucking bear.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was like, it was laying it out like, oh, okay, they're just going through getting to know each other and everything like that. It felt natural. It didn't take me out of the space.
Even when they get to, when she kind of glosses over their sexual relationship, it's kind of like, all right, whatever.
Right, totally. And so, anyway, she decides, her friends have been hounding her. They've never met him. She's talked about him. So she decides to have some kind of brunch.
You get the impression many weeks have gone by and she's done that thing where you meet somebody new and you guys like are instantly in love with each other and you kind of disappear off the face of the planet for a couple weeks.
And so...
And girls love brunch.
Right.
It's true.
We've read a lot of books where girls have brunch. I wasn't aware how ingrained it is, but yeah, apparently. So she takes...
I'm having brunch right now.
Although, you know what? Mimosas and Bloody Marys, fantastic.
I will fuck up a spicy Bloody Mary.
Oh yeah, me too, man. So Deborah and Carly are waiting for Nora. They're not sure what to expect. Nora's described him as a bear, but they weren't aware that it was actually a bear. They just thought, burly dude.
An Andy.
Big guy. Yeah, exactly. And then they actually sit down. And I like how no one in the restaurant is, unnerved by this bear wearing an Arcade Fire t-shirt.
Yeah.
So they walk in as normal, and then her friends are obviously rather shocked. I think Deborah actually described that she actually shit her Spanx.
Oh yeah.
And then
oh yeah.
And then I like how it's interesting because normally if you brought a bear to brunch, you would kind of like really freak out, like pretty much like panic and run.
Yeah, the whole restaurant would clear out.
Yeah, but they're annoyed. Well, Deborah's annoyed. Carly's like, whatever, this is pretty cool. And sort of flirts with Bear, I would say. Deborah seems rather annoyed that this is Nora's chosen partner.
Well, because I don't think he fits their lifestyle status.
Right.
Well, aren't they kind of rude to him? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
No, I thought, is this when they said like, oh my God, you brought a bear into the restaurant? And they're like, she's like, he can hear you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one that's more concerned with status is like, he's a bear. He's not like a handsome, whatever agent or whatever she wants someone to be.
Well, and Carly just fully accepts him. I think she gets him mimosas. She's like kind of eyeing him a little bit. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, Deborah's definitely more concerned. Like, how does this even work? Et cetera. And what if he attacks someone, et cetera. But yeah, and then so to win them over, go ahead.
Sorry, and that was like another thing where I was like, is this a metaphor for interracial relationship where she's like, oh, they've got that stereotype, you know, and you're this tiny little blonde chick. Is this what you want to be doing?
Yeah. So I had a friend, not me, a friend.
Right.
Named Blancis.
No, this is actually when I was dating Andy. She had this male friend, and he would stay over at her place a lot, and it just started growing into like he just took advantage of her. And I got really upset. I was like, this guy doesn't care about you. He's using you. You deserve better. And she just didn't want to hear it. So I do think it could be an interracial thing too, but if you use that context, this guy just showed up at her house one night and now like he's hanging around her all the time. Maybe there could have been some concern. I didn't get that vibe necessarily from her, but yeah, if you're kind of seeing the sloppy sullen guy and like what's going on, you want to make sure.
Mooching off of you.
Yeah, and if she's historically made bad relationship choices, like maybe they're just making sure like, hey, is this guy legit? Because unfortunately, like she's so dumb, and I like her a lot. She buried magazines because her boyfriend didn't like them. I'd be like, F you. Like, I'm reading my magazines. But she's easily vulnerable or controllable. So it could have just been, in the friend's defense, though I don't think it was, just like, hey, who is this guy? Is he going to hurt you?
We know your history of bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, not bad guys, but just not.
And I know
right
the stereotype of bears. So
yeah, they're violent.
I know they're in the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then to Bear's credit, he senses the tension and decides to juggle Coffee Creamer, which wins over Deborah, actually.
So it's like, was he a circus bear?
Right.
At one time?
Well, that's kind of a thing that bears do.
Which could explain why he knows how to read, because he was around humans.
Right.
Who knows?
But we never get into that. So apparently he's won over the friends, at least for now. Then it goes into how they're continuing to date and they go out. They prefer actually the mall because other places people legitimately freak out, as you would have expected people to freak out at the restaurant. Outdoors, amusement parks, people freak out and flee because they see a bear. It's not until they get to a shopping mall where everyone's preoccupied with looking at what's in the shops and not really paying attention to what's around them that they actually feel a lot of freedom. So they actually frequent the mall quite often, or outdoor mall. So, and then it cuts to some more of their domestic life. Nora's explained to her parents that she's dating a bear. Obviously, they're a bit concerned. Then it goes into, I love this part. They actually do this a couple times where it's cat versus bear.
Yes. Oh my God.
She can't identify whether bear has ruined something or the cat has ruined something because they have very similar destructive patterns. I'm not exactly sure the last one, Francis. You can tell me. Is that like they both crapped in?
Yes, in the cat litter box.
Okay.
There's so much in there, the bag broke.
Oh, that's gross.
So
I mean, at least he uses that. I wasn't sure as a domesticated bear if he was using the toilet or not.
I've never had to clean up after Andy's bathroom stuff, so.
That's good. So Andy doesn't shit in a bag.
No.
Okay, so there's a difference.
Yeah, he's not like coming home from like spending the day golfing and can't make it to the toilet. No. He's like, sorry, cat. Blagunk.
One of the.
Oh, this was funny. That was funny. The tampon box. You totally skipped over it.
Sorry. We can go. Why don't you describe it?
This is like, you had babies. Okay, so.
I don't know how those work.
So she's walking by with her tampon box and the bear's kind of sniffing. And she's like, Bear, don't be gross. Because obviously they have a heightened sense of smell.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that's also, studies have shown that men are more attracted to women when they're ovulating. So that's like prime, like, hey, we should get this on. So, and that's what
the animals, that's when they mate, is when.
Yeah. So he's like ready to go.
Menses.
Well, that's interesting. Up until this point, everything's kind of just normal and sweet in the sense that.
Menstruation is normal. Yeah. It's not sweet.
Well, I mean. I beg to differ. No, well, I meant in terms of like their interactions, they're just cuddling.
I get it. Yeah.
I mean, you don't even see them kiss, really.
It's not sexual yet.
Yeah.
It's just more,
And we get to Francis's favorite part where...
Menses.
Yeah, apparently Bear's like squished or made. What's his name? What's it? The cat's name?
Cat.
No, he definitely has a name. Let's see.
We don't need to waste time on it.
It's probably You Handsome Prince if I named the cat.
He basically builds the cat a series of ledges, bookshelves, so that the cat can basically jump up and crawl and eat in peace without Bear squishing him. Mm-hmm. Nutso. That's what his name was.
Nutso, yeah.
Nutso was the cat. And then, of course, this endears him to Nora because, one, he's handy, and two, he obviously cares for the cat. It goes into a little bit about her job at the telemarketing.
So you know what this reminded me of a little bit?
Please don't bring me into this.
So remember how Johnny's like this?
No, I just recently rewatched Julia and Julia on Netflix, and Amy Adams works in a call center for helping 9/11 victims. Oh, and she's very she just hates her job. Mm-hmm. And it's obviously it's a very difficult job. I mean, you're helping victims of, but just kind of like the call she's getting, her facial expression, even like her hair and everything. It's like, oh, she kind of reminds me a little bit of Amy Adams here.
Yeah, and she obviously, the writer worked in a call center because it's very true to life. I felt a lot of flashbacks working at a call center in terms of working with angry customers, being recorded by your supervisor, not being able to say certain things unless
stick to the script.
Right.
Oh yeah, she says like I really want to help people, but they have to say the word, and she tries to get them to hint, and she's like, oh no,
A quick side note. So the writer, Pamela Ribon, Ribon. She was the screenwriter and the story writer for Ralph Breaks the Internet.
That's right.
She was a writer for Smurfs, The Lost Village. She was a story writer for Moana.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so she's had, and she was a producer on Mind of Mencia, that dumb fucking show.
Oh.
But she's done a lot of writing.
Okay, so she's pretty successful. Yeah. Then we get to the juicy part where
the Halloween party.
Yeah, well,
no.
They're playing Scrabble. And Bear spells out boobs, and then she gets the hint, and apparently they have sexual relations.
Sexual relations.
And then it goes on to how great their relationship is. During Halloween, she actually has him scare the trick-or-treaters, which I think is actually pretty traumatizing to have a legit bear. That's not like some dude in a Frankenstein outfit. I mean, they could have been traumatized and called their parents and said, there's a wild bear. Johnny, as a person who used to work for an animal shelter, if you got this call, you would probably have to answer it.
I would have been like, you need to call Fish and Wildlife. We don't catch bears. That reminded me of many years ago when I lived in San Diego. We lived in this little townhouse, my buddies and I, and we were going to have a Halloween party later that night. And but we were handing out candy, and so one of the guys came over, and this was like when Scream came out, and he had the Scream costume, and we had a tree, not like a smaller tree in right next to our front door, where the door light was, so it kind of cast a shadow where you couldn't see up into the tree. So when kids would come over and ring the doorbell, he would jump out of the tree with this fake knife and scare the shit out of everyone. Well, this guy had his 2 or 3 year old and an infant in his arm. He jumped out of the tree and scared him so bad the guy fumbled the infant and caught him. And he's like, "That's not fucking funny, guys. That's not fucking funny." And I was all, I just faded into the mist.
See you later, buddy.
You're on your own on this one, dude.
So then it cuts. One of Deborah's complaints was, does he even have a job? Yeah. So which is like, how do bears get jobs? Well, guess what? He proved her wrong because he gets a suit and he ends up getting a corporate job, a pretty good one too. Like normally when I start a job, I start at the bottom. Yeah. He apparently started way at the top.
It's like Kramer.
Yeah. And so he basically gets a nice job, basically telling people what to do, and he's running meetings and everything like that. So I don't know.
Well, who's going to argue with the bear?
Right.
Yeah. You're just going to do it.
So then it cuts to that.
And he's a man, so he could just get any job he wants.
Then it cuts to the scene we had mentioned before, where Carly's watching football, and apparently Bear. I don't know does he root for the Bears?
Yeah, but so she's excluded herself to go read while she's leaving her friend alone.
She's very happy with that. That's what I'm saying. She doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, no.
Well, I think she's secure in their relationship too.
If you look at her face, she's serene.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Any woman knows you don't do that.
She said, "I was grateful to have some alone time," which I felt was really
she's
naive.
Stupid.
Yeah,
right. That goes back to her.
Because Sasha could do this, and I would never if one of her friends hit on me out of the blue because Sasha was out of the room. Like, her friends wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't.
Why are you looking at me, Johnny? That happened once.
Well, I was single at the time, so.
No, I agree what you're saying. I mean, guys can be friends with girls. That's fine. It's just the vibe that Carly was giving out. I would have picked up on that if I were Nora. That's the difference. If they were just friends and she wanted to have a buddy over, it just seems like Carly's always trying to put Bear in a compromising position.
Yeah.
And playing with liquor.
And there's a time, I mean, I don't like sports. I hate sports, but we've had people over to like watch sports. There's a guest in my house. I'm going to host them. I don't just leave. Even like when just as male friends, like, yeah. Right.
So they basically lock Nora out and they just ignore her. It isn't.
Well, she got locked out.
But they didn't bother like rescuing her. I don't know how long she was out there.
They didn't notice. That's the thing. They didn't notice.
Which is weird. Like the friend didn't notice and Bear didn't notice.
Yeah, like, hey, where's my girlfriend?
So apparently Deborah comes and bails him out and has to drag drunk Bear home. She's obviously disapproving, not really liking his drinking habits.
Yeah.
And which once again was buying into my theory that I thought the twist ending was going to be this is actually a guy. And then it comes, winter's starting to come, and obviously Nora knows after reading so many books that this is signaling the coming of hibernation period.
Which, this was like the first plot twist for me, because I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. Because he's living such a human existence. I didn't really think he like had to hibernate. And in LA, come on, there's no hibernation.
There's also rarely snow in LA.
Yeah, I think that's the fake snow at the mall.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's like when they do like the Hollywood. Ooh.
Yeah, totally. I forgot about
Hollywood.
I do the snow falling motion with my hands.
Yeah, for the listeners, she was the woo coincided with her hands emulating snow falling.
And I do like Bear can sense this too, and so he's trying to be extra caring, and do a lot of things, right? And really, I mean, up to this point, Bear really does seem like the perfect boyfriend. He gets along with her friends more or less, Carly at least. He watches shows that she likes. It's kind of like Johnny. he was watching, what was it? Downtown Abbey. Downtown.
Yeah, Downtown Abbey.
Downton Abbey.
I always leave the room when Sasha starts watching her misery British shows.
I know for a fact you watched that nurse one.
No, I don't.
I thought you did with her.
Fuck no.
Oh, okay.
I told her, I'm like, I can't handle your British misery shows.
But yeah, he's slowly like being more sleepy. It's coming on to where he really needs to start hibernating soon.
So this part really resonated with me too. She's noticed she's getting fat and she's kind of gaining some weight just because of their eating habits.
Because he's packing on the pounds for hibernation.
But so fun fact, Andy actually gained weight because of me. Like, I mean, we both have different eating habits and different eating, so we both put on weight. But like, I eat significantly more than he does. But I would tend to eat like health. Like it was like based on like stomach issues. I'm going to get into it, but like I kind of eat throughout the day and I eat smaller meals. And Andy and I have had this argument for years. But like one time we were at Disneyland, like I was hungry. He's like, "How can you be hungry? You just had breakfast." I was like, "No, you had like 2 breakfasts. You had biscuits and gravy. You had eggs. You had bacon. You had potatoes. Of course you're not hungry." I literally had 2 scrambled eggs. So yeah, of course I'm hungry. Like, but because like sometimes like one of us might eat when we're not completely hungry. So, but anyway, that really resonated with me. And I think everybody in a relationship, when you get comfortable, you kind of, let's have another bottle of wine, or let's get dessert, or
knowing Francis, this is Francis's input on the
let's
those two things right there.
Let's have another bottle of wine. Let's have some dessert. Let's maybe adopt another cat.
Every night, this is the conversation in my house.
I do like this. This part resonated with me because this was real, right? This is the honeymoon phase of the relationship was over, and now he was like getting grumpy. He was kind of getting annoyed by her outbursts of like joy.
And this is what I was talking about. So I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Like he left all these dishes on the counter and it's all dirty, but he's like all mad because she didn't put the coffee away. And she's like, "Look at all this mess you left." And that's so true in every relationship.
Right.
Well, and I think it's also a reflection of them, this growing tension over they know what's coming. So now they're starting to bicker a little bit. You know, it's just it's an outlet for this, fear, much like Yoda said. Fear becomes anger, anger becomes something. I don't know. I'm misquoting Yoda. Sorry, Yoda. But I think that's what it's born out of, is this fear and tension because they know he's going to be going away for a while.
So it comes to, I guess she was born in December. So Deborah's trying to plan a surprise birthday party. Her mom for Nora, and Nora's mom calls her and basically blows the surprise. The next page, I didn't really think anything of it. It wasn't until later that it resonated with me and it made me really sad. It shows Nutso the cat, and he's not responding to any of the play mouse, and he's just kind of sleeping there and doing nothing. And I assumed he was just tired or sleepy. It basically meant nothing to me. It wasn't until much later, skip ahead, you find out he's actually sick. And it's funny, it actually hit me emotionally only because my friend's cat recently had to be put down because they found out it had cancerous tumors on its like liver, and it was just expanding. And it's like, oh, I don't even know how long she had Nutso for, but obviously that was her companion through thick and thin. And so when I look back at those pages, it was really sad. At first, I just thought he just didn't give a shit. Then I realized that he was actually feeling really ill and sick. And so, so it cuts to the surprise birthday party that they've had for Nora. I'm honestly surprised, like Bear, even though he was given warning that this was going to happen, he freaks out when he sees a surprise and runs out the door. I thought at this point, when I read that page, I thought it was going to take a dark turn and he was going to slaughter everyone. I thought I was going to turn the page. I thought I was going to turn the page and there was going to be like blood, like her parents were going to be mauled. Yeah. I thought like that would have just shocked him to become like a feral bear again. Because, he was starting to get grumpy because of the hibernation. So I thought, well, maybe he'll become more bear-like. And then this would like totally, like when I turned the page, I was fully ready for slaughter. And then to my surprise, it actually like he just basically ran off for a little bit. Yeah. And it was just a normal party. I actually really liked the party. It was funny because I've had parties like this thrown for me where there are people there that I don't really care for, and I really don't want to have any conversations with. Yeah. But I don't know. There's something about it, once again, resonated. It just felt honest, like where they're trying to talk about a book you should read, talk about a movie you should see, and just whatever's going on in their life, and you could just give a shit about. So I really like that, and this is the part where I felt like Carly was taking it way too far. Both her and Bear were inebriated, and Carly is on Bear's lap, and I was like,
Yeah, but she does ask him like if they're having fun. Like she's starting to not be okay with it.
Right. Yeah. That's true. I guess I didn't pick up on that.
Well, and was it the other friend that invited her ex to the party too?
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of an asshole move.
Right. Deborah invited Ben. I assume maybe like, hey, here's a human you liked.
But I took it as like a spiteful thing to like, oh, I'm your friend, but not really.
See, so I don't know. She arranged this party. I felt it was altruistic.
Why would you invite an ex though?
Well, she did say, she's like, I thought you guys were friends because they worked together and they were talking more. So,
and I don't know.
They would know.
I think it was a sly move to try to get her to away from dating bears and dating humans.
A human.
Okay, so Francis, here's the part where it confused me. So she says, "Okay, Nora says to Carly and Bear, okay, have fun, you two, but let moderation be your guide." And she kisses him and then just moves on. So
no, she didn't move on. She just marked her territory. What she's saying here is like, okay, like I get it's a party, but like keep it in check.
I guess.
Yeah, that's like her nice way. And I think she went to him because I think she knows her friend is not trustworthy. Like I think she's like, I'm trusting you. Like I trust you. I know what she's like, but just
right.
Yeah.
I'm on to you.
Yeah. But again, if it was me, because I'm much more smart, bitch would not be on his lap and he would be with me all night. Like I would not walk off with my ex.
And then it cuts to basically her dad looking around, finding out that basically there's only one bed, which was, I remember like trying to finally break to my parents and I think Christy's parents that we were living together. I think that was I remember that was a big thing. Like before we were separate and then we decided to reveal. I actually had more anxiety about that than actually I think either of our parents cared.
But you guys had already had kids already. This was like a year ago. No, this was last year.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, common law. But her dad just seems pretty cool. He was like, whatever. He seems like a nice guy. No.
Oh, like no.
Nora's dad.
Not at all.
But shut up, Johnny. But obviously the mom still has concerns about her daughter dating a bear and wants something more normal. It goes into it later, but typical stuff like what about children, all that kind of stuff. And then it cuts to the cat again, Nutso, and he's lying in, I think, one of her jackets, and she just explained it away as him just being tired. And once again, I still didn't pick up on anything wrong. I don't know. Like I said, my friend, she got that diagnosis, and so they put the cat down. I don't know, like if your cat was sick, would you just let it live?
Not if it has like leukemia or something like that. You're gonna.
Well, we'll go to the next page.
Anyway, so Nora criticizes Deborah for inviting Ben. Like, why would you do that? And like we discussed, it seemed like Deborah was trying to maybe and this is where I think that's why she invited Ben. She's trying to get her to realize that dating Bear isn't ideal. That Bear is just a parlor trick, as she puts it. He's playing Twister with Carly. He then starts juggling, I think, beer bottles. He's consuming way too much alcohol with Carly. They're playing beer pong. At one point, he's much like a circus bear, rolling on basically a yoga ball, carrying Carly, and they crash and basically are passed out drunk. And I think that's cue for everyone to basically leave. This is where I thought Carly was way too much into Bear, like was carousing with her way too much. I'm surprised Nora let it get this far. And she does seem annoyed the next morning when she's cleaning everything up. But I assumed that was more because she was thinking about what Deborah had put in her head, that, look, he's not really like dating material.
This is a temporary thing.
Yeah. He's still a bear. He could still attack someone.
Yeah.
And so she's clearly annoyed that the house is a wreck. His hair's everywhere, dishes. And so she takes the trash out. She has an annoyed face. You can see Bear is actually digging through the trash, probably for food.
It's like a hungover, like when you're hungover and you want something greasy.
And then he accidentally, which he's done before, bumps into her lamp and crashes, and it crashes and breaks. And in the beginning of the book, we saw how he was breaking a lot of things, pictures, chairs, and she was accepting of it, whatever. That's what it was. But at this point, she's had too much. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. And she actually basically tells him to get out. At this point, then you start realizing maybe there's more going on in her mind as well, because she comforts Nutso, who's been on the ground the whole time. We've seen glimpses of him during the party, but he's still wrapped up in the coat of hers. And then we come to realize that basically he's very sick and is probably going to die. And in which case he does while she's asleep holding him. Bear kindly takes Nutso off while she's away or sleeping and buries him,
So he says.
Right. He might have just eaten her or he eaten him. And, she's obviously, Nora's obviously distraught, and he comforts her as he always does by cuddling with her. Then it cuts back now to the dinner party, right? It's full circle. The dinner party that we were introduced to. Now we understand why they were having the dinner party. It's basically time for him to really hibernate. So she's feeding him a lot of food because bears obviously need a lot lot of calories.
She's feeding him dessert and wine.
Yeah, they're just indulging,
Basically, it's your
Francis,
perfect date.
Yeah, Francis's
perfect date.
Dessert and wine.
Yeah, and then if he's going to leave for a while, that's even better. Like, I don't see the problem here. I don't see why she's sad.
Win-win, yeah.
Right, and then she even says, like, I don't understand why I'm making a big deal about it, because it could just be like a work trip. Like, that happens to adults all the time, where someone has to go on a business trip.
I wasn't getting that the hibernation was, like, permanent.
Yeah, but as they get into it, too, they start to realize, like, when she sees him goes off with the other bears, she's like, oh, what if he reverts back? Like, what if that's another thing where I thought, oh, is this like a metaphor for an interracial relationship? Mm-hmm. Because now he's back amongst his own culture, his own clan, and she thinks, oh, is he going to fall in love with another bear while we're separated in this? And
I'm pretty sure, like, if I went to Chinatown, Chrissy's not going to be freaked out.
No, but if you went to China for 3 or 4 months and you're going to get lonely.
You're not Chinese. Why?
Well, I know. I was just saying Chinatown because there's no Thai town.
No, you should change that.
But if he's used to one culture, and now he's stepping outside of that, and he's going to be gone for a while, like on an expedition, and and he's be amongst his own people, his culture that he's used to, and he meets someone that's familiar with that, and then they get it and they understand it, and they're not having to learn every single fucking new thing with this person.
Well, it actually is a legit concern, because you do wonder, not assuming it's not a metaphor and we were just buying in the fact that he's a bear, he never really misses bear life. Like, he doesn't want to hang out with other bears or other wildlife.
I don't know. When they're hibernating, I kind of got, he was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm back, like, because they're hugging and they're like catching up. He hadn't seen anybody, and it's like he's catching up with his family and friends.
Honestly, that was another part where, because that was a concern she had. There's actually, the next few pages, once she releases him back into the wild and he goes back and forth, where her life is on the top pages while
he's in smaller panels at the bottom.
Throughout, just almost like a flip book. Yeah, there's one panel on the bottom where he's hugging all the bears because they see him. He enters the bear cave on the bottom panel. I honestly thought, oh, that's his real wife and kids.
That's what I thought too. I was like, oh shit.
Damn. It's like, where have you been, honey? Oh, just out.
out foraging. Sometimes foraging takes a couple months.
And so I thought that was going to be another like dark plot line.
That's what I thought too.
Where it's like, oh shit, he's been cheating. She's like the mistress, and he actually has a family. And I was like, God, Bear's a scumbag. But so she's restless, obviously. She can't deal with the fact that Bear's gone. She tries to keep up his habits, like folding the coffee the way he liked.
And see, with the cat being gone and him being gone, now she's really forced to like be alone, grow up, kind of become a more complete person.
Right.
Because now she's just herself.
So that's the interesting thing to me, that she did this before, earlier in the book, and she did it again, where she goes back to sewing, she goes back to working out, having brunch, well, at least with Carly. Deborah won't return her calls. But it's interesting because it almost seems like the relationship made her happy, but was it dragging her down? Because she wasn't really doing some of these hobbies that she seemed to enjoy. She wasn't doing the sewing while she was with Bear.
I don't think it was dragging her down. I think that's one of those things when you meet someone and you lose yourself in that other person for a short period of time. And then you start to slowly
regain.
If it's a healthy relationship, you start to get more of yourself back while still being a couple, and you can start doing your own things.
So maybe this break was like really positive for her in that regards, that she was able to find the things that made her happy and kind of not drag her down. So so she just living her life, talking with her mom. Her mom is obviously giving her, a lecture about, how unrealistic it is to date a bear. I love Bear's lower panels, though. In some cases, he's just kind of laying around, rolling. But there's a couple parts where he's like, gets up, takes a shit, takes a piss, goes back down, rolls around. And then finally, the mom is like, fine, if you don't want to, listen to me, whatever. The gals in my sewing group think you need to find someone more normal. And but Nora seems perfectly content to wait for Bear until he's basically done with his hibernation, which I don't know. How long is hibernation anyway? It's
a few months, 4 or 5 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't hibernate the whole time. They get up and forage and come back and stuff. But so then you go through the time. It's just her growing as a person.
Right.
While they're separated. And then finally he wakes up and...
Well, no, there's a little bit... Her friend puts it in her head, like, he's having this, like, lurid affair. Like, who are you waiting for? Yeah. Like, and...
Once against Deborah.
And it almost seems like she's about to get back with her ex. Like, she's about to get back with... So we can flip a few, sorry. Because, like, that's, like, when she puts it in her head. She starts reconnecting with Ben. She goes and checks on him one night because... the fear of him cheating got to her so strong that she gets into the bear cave. But then,
which once again,
she lays with him one night.
I thought this was going to take a dark turn because, he's domesticated. I don't know about the other bears. And I thought she was going to get mauled by the other ones.
Yeah.
So she's able to find Bear because she's tied like a red shoelace around his arm. And so that's Christmas, and it cuts to New Year's. And once again, Deborah's still naysayer about the whole relationship,
But and that's when she runs into Ben. But then how does she get back to him? Like, how does that work after the whole Ben situation?
Who gets back?
How did they get back together?
Oh,
Who, Bear?
Yeah.
I thought he just shows up.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So
Just like he did in the beginning. He just shows
that's
up.
right. Okay.
She was actually content, like that, and her fear was just like Johnny described. Maybe he would go native, right? He's back with his culture. He's living a regular bear life as opposed to trying to fit in a human life. Maybe he'll be more comfortable that way. Maybe he'll never return.
Is that the same color as Johnny's house?
Oh my God, it is. That's Johnny's house.
Sorry.
Man.
But and so she's content. She packs away his stuff, assuming he won't come back. She's prepared to let him go. She appreciates the time they spent together, but realizes that, you know what? Maybe it was selfish for me to try to make a bear live human
in my
life.
world.
Right. And
Maybe that'll be the sequel. She lives in his world.
So she focuses her skills towards making these clothes. And this is where I get really weird. She starts an Etsy page where she makes clothes for bears. But then, so does that mean other people date bears in this world too?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that unusual. So apparently if she has an Etsy page.
Or they're dating other animals. I don't know.
This goes down a weird road. But anyway, so yeah, she continues to, she's running, I guess, her little Etsy page. She's made up with Deborah, and her and Carly have their regular brunch meetings. Then Bear's panels start getting bigger, where he's starting to wake up from his hibernation.
Yeah, and hers are getting smaller.
Right. And it looks like she's right. He might have gone back to being a bear. He's rubbing his back against a tree. He's eating ants as normal. And it looks like he's among his people. But then you see him looking out at the city, and you're like, is this like a goodbye? And at this point, what do you guys think is going to happen?
I thought they were going to get back together.
You thought so?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was it. I thought she was going to he looked at the city, and then they would maybe see each other in a park. And then he would keep driving
That's true
on.
love.
Yeah. And then apparently he gives a hug to his real wife. I don't know. This is once again, I was like, I don't know what this relationship is between Bear and these other bears.
It's just his clan.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure that he's cheating on
Or it's
his
his
wife.
ex-wife. Maybe it's like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith and his ex-wife, where they're all friendly with each other.
Right. So anyway, Bear makes his way back into the city, finds himself some clothes, a new cat in the alleyway, picks some flowers, and basically the story ends with
Him
her
at the door.
Yeah, him at the door and her embracing him.
Yeah.
So at this point, I was mad.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, why isn't he a person? Like, wait, I was like, what? So he was a bear the whole time?
Right.
I was like, really? And as we're sitting here talking about it, because Johnny's brought up a good point about you kind of lose yourself in a relationship, but you get part of that back. He has sacrificed a lot more for her than she has for him. And in order to be together, he has to continue those sacrifices. Like, he has given up everything again to be in her world. And I think that's true for a lot of relationships, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had to give up all of my going out, getting wasted, making an ass of myself.
Johnny's really not fun anymore.
All hours of the day to live in Sasha's adult world.
It's terrible. Sober Johnny is not fun. I just want to put on record.
I don't even, whatever. I don't know.
It sounds like you guys were surprised he was a bear too, though. Like, you thought there's going to be a bigger revelation
I
at
kept
the end.
waiting for it, and then, but at a certain point, I was just like, oh, he's just a bear.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, the last page, honest to God, I thought it was going to be he's human.
Oh, yeah.
He's wearing the clothes.
It was, yeah.
And then he's human, and then you realize, oh, it's like a lot of it's a metaphor. Yeah, he was in the cave and all that stuff, but it was all a metaphor, and really, no one's going to give a fucking
He
corporate
was
job to
Al-Qaeda. That's what it really was.
Oh, shit.
She fell in love with an Al-Qaeda or an ISIS
Oh, my God.
soldier.
Well, the other thing is, too, like, she was finally happy without him, and now that he's back, like, what does that mean? Like,
Right.
like
So
maybe she wasn't really happy. She was just...
I think she realized she needs to be her own self while still being with him. That's why she got back into her artistic and hobbies and endeavors like that.
see, that's why I worried, like, once he's back, is she going to give that up? Yeah. It's hard to say.
I don't think she will. Now it's a truly healthy relationship because he can go be a bear, and while he's gone, she'll be a human. But
Only
when they're
once a
back
year.
together, they're, they'll be them. They'll be the couple. They'll be them. The whatever their dynamic requires, that's what they'll be in the relationship. And then they can go and be them separate selves.
But you're really right, Francis. I mean, is it a healthy relationship? He's giving up so much, and the only time he's being with his clan is when he's sleeping.
Well, maybe that'll be the sequel, is my girlfriend is a human. And then she goes and lives with him for a little while.
And then his bear wife goes, who is this? Hussy. And all his little bear cubs come up. And Daddy, who's this?
Who's this? This is your new mom. No. What'd you think, Frankie, overall?
I really, really liked it. This is one of the few comic books that I've read that I could really relate to. Like down to the cat, the sundresses.
The wines, the desserts.
Yeah. The fact that they were at brunch and one had mimosa, one had Bloody Mary. I was like, Like, yeah.
She's like, I have both of those at the same time. And what about you, Dennis?
I loved it. I was, like I said before in the beginning, I was honestly surprised that such a ridiculous concept actually felt really grounded in reality and truthfulness. And even though it didn't turn out to be a metaphor, I still bought into it. The idea that she was dating a bear seemed ridiculous, but
I think it's really a grander statement about like when you're getting to know someone and love them and you're trying to fit two worlds together that maybe are different, and are the friends gonna like this person? Is this person gonna like my friends? Are they gonna get along?
Yeah, and I thought it was a grander statement just about society in general and what people are not willing to accept.
Yeah, and and having known a few people who have struggled with the dating world and have had those ex-boyfriends that were listed, it was
Francis.
It was nice to see a happy ending where she actually found someone.
I thought so too. It was a very sweet book. I liked it a lot. All right, I think that's it.
Where can people find you? Because they're not bears and they can't just sniff you out.
Well, actually, they can.
Well, apparently this bear probably could use the internet.
Yeah. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Serious Talk Twit, and Instagram's Senior_Ewok. What about you there, Frankie?
You can find me on Insta at Words in Waffles.
And Dennis, where can people find our podcast?
The podcast
I don't know why I went British there.
What the heck? Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at GN Explorers Club.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate it.